Penguin Audio presents Forcing the Spring, Inside the Fight for Marriage Equality by Jo Becker, read by Jamie Leonhart. The nature of injustice is that you can't see it in your own times. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. Section 1. Chapter 1. The Pact. This is how a revolution begins. It begins when someone grows tired of standing idly by, waiting for history's arc to bend toward justice, and instead decides to give it a swift shove. It begins when a black seamstress named Rosa Parks refuses to give up her seat on a bus to a white man in the segregated South. And in this story, it begins with a handsome, bespectacled 35-year-old political consultant named Chad Griffin in a spacious suite at the Westin St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco on election night 2008. It was hours before the final votes were counted, but already Chad knew he was about to experience the most bittersweet election of his life. On the suite's large television screen, he watched as Barack Obama stepped onto the stage in Grant Park, Chicago, and into his place in history as the first African-American elected President of the United States. If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, the President-elect boomed to the electrified crowd, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer. Outside the hotel on the street, a crowd chanted the Obama mantra, "Yes, we can!" Chad wanted to celebrate too. He had been working in Democratic politics since he was 19 years old. Inspired by then Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton, he had worked on the governor's presidential campaign, then left Ouachita Baptist University in Arkadelphia to follow him to Washington, becoming the youngest staffer in the Clinton White House. He was 6 feet tall, on the slender side, and with his ubiquitous sports jackets and ties, he looked very much like the Washington staffer he once was. Obama's election meant more to him than just a repudiation of 8 years of Republican control of the White House. It was not just a turning point in the nation's fraught racial history, though it was certainly that. It was a signal that, as the president-elect told the Grant Park crowd, change has come to America. But Chad's eyes kept flickering away from the television and back to his computer screen, where early returns from another race suggested change had not come for everybody, and especially not for people like him. In a campaign known as Proposition 8, California voters had gone to the polls to decide whether to strip gays and lesbians of the ability to marry by amending the state's constitution. The referendum had been placed on the ballot after the California Supreme Court found that denying same-sex couples marriage licenses violated their rights, a decision that had briefly allowed same-sex couples to wed in the most populous state in the nation. Looking on with concern was Chad's closest friend and business partner, Christina Shockey. With her wavy red hair, curvaceous figure, and wide, engaging smile, she looked like the kind of girl who might have once graced a 1950s pinup calendar. But at age 38, she had political instincts every bit as sharp as Chad's. They had been in business together for close to a decade, and their Los Angeles-based communications firm, Griffin Shockey, counted everyone from actor Brad Pitt to California's First Lady Maria Shriver as clients. They were known for their ability to raise big-time Hollywood money for national Democratic candidates, and for their expertise in running California's never-ending ballot initiative campaigns. The two friends believed that the No on Prop 8 campaign had been marred by a failure to reach out to California's large minority populations, and messaging that, while pleasing to the gay community, did little to move voters on the fence. But despite their expertise, they had not been brought in to help turn the polls around until late in the game. They had cut some last-minute ads that nudged the numbers up, but Christina could see by the way Chad was tensely raking his hand through his closely cropped brown hair that he didn't think it was going to be enough. Part of what made Chad such an effective political operative was his tendency to envision and plan for worst-case scenarios that never materialized. It meant he lived in a perpetually stressed-out world. Christina had a sunnier disposition and saw it as her role to provide Chad with some balance. But as more precincts came in, she could see that this time he was right to worry. Christina thought back to how hard it had been for Chad to come out 8 years.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?